It was late evening in the quiet town of Clearwater, the kind of place where secrets didn't stay buried for long. The rain had just stopped, leaving the dirt road glistening under the glow of the saloon lamps. Jack Dawson, a man with a worn-out hat and eyes that spoke of too many sleepless nights, stood outside the Silver Moon Inn, clutching a small piece of paper, the contract that had just changed his life. He hadn't planned to buy anyone. He didn't even believe in such a thing. But when the mail-order company in town showed him the letter, a woman desperate for a way out, something in her words had broken through his silence. "I don't want to belong to anyone. I just want to live." Still, the system was what it was. To rescue her, he had to pay the fee. And he did. When the train arrived, he waited by the platform. The woman who stepped out wore a faded blue dress and carried nothing but a small satchel. Her hair was tied neatly, but her eyes were filled with fear. She looked around until her gaze fell on him. "Jack Dawson?" she asked softly. He nodded, tipping his hat. "That's right, ma'am, you must be Evelyn." She hesitated before answering. "You paid for me, now finish it." Jack blinked. The words stung more than he expected. "Finish what?" "The deal," she said, her voice trembling. "Take me wherever you plan to. I won't resist." He frowned. "I didn't buy you for that. I just wanted to get you out of that place." But Evelyn didn't believe him. In her world, men didn't buy women to save them, they bought them to own them. She kept her distance all the way to his wagon. The road was silent except for the clatter of hooves on the wet trail. When they reached his cabin, she stood by the doorway, unsure if she should go inside. He stepped down and opened the door. "It's small," he said, "but it's warm. You can rest here. I'll sleep out in the barn." She looked at him, confused. "You'll sleep outside. Seems only right," he replied. "You've been through enough already." That night, while Evelyn sat by the fireplace, her mind raced. The man who bought her hadn't even tried to touch her. He cooked her soup, handed her a blanket, and quietly stepped outside. For the first time in years, she felt something close to safety, but her heart wouldn't let her trust it yet. The next morning, she woke to find breakfast on the table. Jack was outside, mending a fence. She watched him through the window, steady, patient, quiet. He looked nothing like the men she'd known before. But still, his words from last night echoed in her mind. "You can rest here." Not, "You belong here." That difference mattered. Later that day, while she was helping him gather wood, she asked, "Why did you do it?" He looked up, sweat glistening on his brow. "Do what?" "Pay for me." He set down the axe. "I lost someone once. My sister. She was taken by people who thought they could buy her too. I couldn't save her, but maybe I could save you." Evelyn's breath caught. She wanted to believe him, but the world had taught her not to. So she said nothing. Days turned into weeks. She started helping around the cabin, cooking, cleaning, tending to the small garden behind the house. Slowly, she began to smile again. Jack noticed but never said a word. He didn't want to break whatever fragile piece she'd found. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Jack came back from town with a brown envelope. "Mail came in," he said, handing it to her. She opened it, and froze. Inside was a torn photograph and a letter written in a trembling hand. It was from her sister, Clara. The words read, "They told me you were gone. I prayed I'd see you again. If you find this, I'm at the mission home in Dry Creek." Tears welled in Evelyn's eyes. "Clarice alive," she whispered. Jack smiled gently. "Then we'll go to her." She shook her head. "I can't ask that of you." "You don't have to ask," he said. "You deserve your family back." The journey to Dry Creek took 2 days. Along the way, Evelyn started talking more, about her childhood, about how she'd been sold off by the same people who ruined her sister's life. Jack listened quietly, his hands steady on the reins. Every word she spoke deepened his resolve to see her safe. When they finally reached the mission home, Evelyn ran inside. The moment she saw Clara, the two sisters collapsed into each other's arms, sobbing. Jack turned away, giving them their moment. But when Evelyn came back out, her face was pale. "Jack," she whispered, "you need to see this." She handed him a folded letter Clara had given her. Inside were records, names, transactions, and details of the same company that had sold Evelyn. And there, in the list, was the truth, Jack's name. For a moment, everything went still. He looked at her, confusion in his eyes. "That's not possible. I never." She cut him off. "It says you were part of it." He took the paper and studied it. The handwriting, the seal, it was from the company clerk who had taken his payment. His jaw tightened. That's not me. That's my brother's signature. Evelyn's breath caught. Your brother. Jack nodded slowly. He was part of that system. I tried to stop him before, but he ran. I paid your fee under his name to get you out. I didn't want them to find out. Silence filled the space between them. She looked at him, trying to see if he was lying. But the pain in his eyes told her the truth. I thought I hated every man who touched that business, she said softly. But you, I'm no better than the rest, he interrupted. I still paid the price. I still made you feel bought. Evelyn stepped closer. You didn't buy me. You freed me. And that's something no man has ever done. For the first time since he met her, she smiled, not out of gratitude, but from something real. They stayed in Dry Creek for a few days, helping Clara settle into safety. Before leaving, Clara hugged Jack and whispered, "Thank you for giving her back her life." On the ride home, the wind carried the scent of pine and freedom. Evelyn turned to him. You know, she said, when I told you to finish it that night, I thought my life was already over. He glanced at her. And now I think it's just beginning. He smiled faintly. Then maybe that's enough for both of us. The wagon rolled on into the golden horizon, two souls scarred by the past but finally finding peace, not in ownership or debt, but in the quiet truth that kindness can heal what cruelty once broke. And somewhere deep in the echo of the open plains, Evelyn's voice seemed to linger, soft, free, and alive. You paid for me, but you never owned me. You gave me back to myself.